What's going on, Boss Talk family? I'm not going to hold you guys long today. I wanted to drop in because we're at that moment, that time in the year where everybody's like kind of shutting down their focus and, you know, preparing to celebrate with family and everything. And also, like, setting up, supposedly or allegedly setting up your new year. And this is usually the time where people tell a bunch of lies. We can start by calling them New Year's resolutions, and we see the same type of thing going every year. The new year, new me. We have some people won't enter the new year with me, blah, 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 all of this kind of stuff. I want to ask you guys something, and, this is one of those things you answer in your own closet so you don't have to lie to nobody. Let's start. Well, I'm asking a few questions. Let's start with, what does it benefit you to lie to you? Think about that for a second. In the meantime, let's think about this. If you're one of those people, you've had some frustrations with 2022, or you're saying to yourself you're about to level up in 2023, anything like that, right? Let's say you're one of those people and you find yourself saying this kind of type of thing every year. Let's start here. Did your 2022 look much different than your 2021? And if so, was that by design, or was that just kind of whatever happened and you fell into place? So here's what I want you guys to do, because this is going to change your life if you're one of those people. Um, there's some people that avoid discussions with me because I believe in making adjustments, not excuses. And most of the time, when you're not, it's an excuse. Because really, the only reason is, well, there's typically two: something where health wouldn't allow it, or you're actually in progress and it's the time between you started and the time you have to arrive, because it doesn't happen overnight, right? So think about this. I want you to read. And while reading books funds the mental, I'm not talking about reading a book in this particular occasion. We're going to talk about the acronym for that. And this is a success formula, and you'll find that most people that are successful are using this in some way, shape, or form. I just decided to acronym it this morning. There's some things that you weren't taught, but you can't blame the people responsible for teaching you, especially if they didn't know. Now it's incumbent upon you to learn those things you didn't know. Some of those things you didn't know may not have been relative to where you grew up and things of that nation. So the first thing is, you need to recondition your mind about what you're going to absorb in the coming year. A lot of the reason that you fail in trying to level up, or saying new year, new me, one of the reasons that you tend to fail is that you don't change your environment, and your environment is not conditioned for success. Your phone has a calendar, but you don't have time on there that's set aside for learning, but your your DVR is set to catch your reality show. You got to recondition that thing. Now I'm not saying nothing's wrong with reality shows. Hey, get out your feelings, but what happens is, if you don't recondition your mind to what you take in, what you allow for, and really position yourself for what you want to do, then you're just lying to yourself. How does lying to yourself benefit you? Are you lying to yourself to get the approval of others? See how that really don't make much sense? So the next part is self education. You have to educate yourself. We're not talking about formal education because there's a lot of debate on that. You know, if college is worth it, should you pay for this? I'm not going to get into all of that. What I am going to say is at the point that you elect to stop learning, stop growing, really, why are you breathing? You have no other purpose. If you know everything or whatever, do one or two things: solve the world's problems or die. That's really, you need to be educating yourself constantly. And I, for one, I'm disturbed by when people are like well entrenched into pointless information. Granted, it may be for entertainment, but on the same vein, they're trying to do something else that they claim to want to do. They say they want to do this, but they don't bother investing any time in learning it. So self-education, and there's no reason not to in the information age, because when you put this thing in perspective, almost anything you want to know is at the touch of a button. The hardest part is discerning which of the information is quality information, because there are some quacks on the internet. But again, that's just applying a little bit more time, to assess what you're educating yourself on, because once you obtain the education about a particular thing, and I want you to recondition your mind about what education is. Like if you're thinking, this is term papers and books and, paying tuition, just go to what you want to know and get that information. Now, they said ignorance is bliss, which now ignorance is expensive. They say that knowledge is power. No, it's not, because if you don't weaponize the education, meaning you have to apply it, that's the A in read. The application is critical. Knowing a bunch of stuff that you don't apply don't mean nothing. So apply what you learn. And here's one of the things I'll challenge you to do in 2023. This is all about setting up for the new year, right? So first we have number one, condition your environment, recondition your mind, self-education. And then when you're applying that education, this is what this looks like. Some of you want to take a task or a goal, and it's this big, and you want to try to swallow that whole thing at once. You get overwhelmed and you quit because you don't have this and you don't have that and you can't figure out how to get over here. Well, that's because there's steps to this thing, right? So if you start down the education path and start to apply all the little things you learn, by the time we start talking about what you don't have, by the time you do these things, you're going to get there. You're going to have what you need, because you're applying what you already learned, and that develops everything around you. The last part, because I promised I wouldn't hold y'all too long, the last part to this thing is discipline. The same discipline you use to get to the nail salon, the same discipline you use to make sure you don't miss the game at 12 noon, apply those same types of discipline to those areas you claim to want in life. Now, let's go back to lying to yourself. If you don't really want the things that you stop putting it out there, because people looking at you crazy like, well, they say they want this, but you're not moving consistently with what you say. you know, Discipline is really doing what needs to be done over what you're wanting to do. Don't like overcomplicate that thing. It's really that simple. This has to be done. I don't want to do it. I want to do this, but this needs to be done. And you're simply prioritizing what needs to be done over what you want to do. Those times you don't want to get out of bed, those times that you don't want to do the work or whatever. Now, sometimes you have to fall back and create balance or whatever, but the discipline is ultimately getting it done and not putting an excuse in the way of getting it done because you really just didn't want to do it or whatever, or you don't really want what you say you want. So that success you claim to want, that new house, the car, the job, the business, all of these things that you say you want, and you get in your little circles and tell people that you're from the I'm about to tribe, or I'm the fixing the tribe, I'm fixing to do this and I'm about to do that. Stop. Just do it. Just do it. Now, if you're using the I'm about to motivate yourself, think about how crazy you look when you say it and then don't do it. Everybody's like, oh, clearly that's not a person of their word. So chew on that for the next few days going into this new year. If you haven't done so already, check out our 12 days till year end, where we're giving you some tax reducing tips. And also, we have a major sale going on right now on the Boss 2022. If you are going into business, if you are just started a business within the last 2 years or so, oftentimes you always hear me talk about it. Oftentimes, what happens is you're great at that thing that you do, that thing that your business is about, but your operations are not set up correctly. So in this course, you're going to find everything from proper entity formation, what considerations you should have from protections standpoint and tax standpoints. You're going to find intro to financial statements, how to develop cash flow statements, P&Ls, uh, balance sheets, and things like that. And then how to use that information to make data driven decisions in your business instead of being distracted by every shiny thing that looks like an opportunity or looks like it's going to be good. You'll be able to look at data and determine where you should be advertising, what things you should be buying for your business, things like that. You're going to learn how to audit proof your business so that you're not out here with the crazy TikTok advice doing silly stuff and then finding yourself having to drop thousands of dollars to get yourself out of trouble with the IRS. You're going to learn strategies on how to build, grow, and exit your business. Lots of times you go into business and you see yourself, getting to the success point, but oftentimes we don't think about how we're going to get out of that thing. And maybe you want to pass it on to your kids, but your kids aren't interested in running that business or being in that business. Doesn't mean you can't pass it to them. There's a way to do it, and you're going to learn that in that segment. The link is MailChimp /6CE699C95EFA /Boss 2022, or you can find it on elite8taxacademy.com. You guys have a happy holidays. We'll see you tomorrow talking with the host of Entrepreneurship Happens. And you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever other politically correct thing there is that y'all say. For me, it's just Happy Holidays, and it's time for me to pour up. See